911 emergency.
When you're reporting southbound number 3 lane. 911, what's your emergency? How can I help you?
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another great episode of We Speak Dispatch. Because I'm always thinking if we speak dispatch, you probably should too. So we're here with our great crew that we've got right now. We got Joe over there. Hi, Joe. How you doing today?
Hello. I'm doing great.
Good. Glenna's down there. How you doing, Glenna?
I'm good.
Okay, that's good. And Leslie, how are you?
Awesome.
That's awesome. We're all ready to roll on this thing. And as per usual, we don't know the topics because I'm going to surprise everybody with it. And I love to do this because it's just a fun thing to do. So I'm going to just tell you something and then we're going to kind of discuss it. Do you find that when you started this job, think back to when you did this, that when you were told, oh, you've got to work on Christmas, or you have to work on Christmas Eve, or you're not going to be able to make your kids play, or you're not going to be able to make your family function, how did you explain that to your family? Like, I want to be there, but I have to work. And especially if you've got little kids that are saying it's Christmas time and what do? I have to go to work. How does that impact all of you? So who wants to go first?
I can
I'll go,
kind of stoop. Go ahead, Leslie.
Well, because mine is going to be a real quick, easy thing because
Yeah.
my husband is also in public safety, or was. He's since retired. So
Okay.
it was not a big thing. So it was, hey, we're going to celebrate when we celebrate and
Yes. Hello.
quick answer, go.
For me, kind of the same thing. It was not much pushback. And after the first 6 months of training or so, I went to the midnight shift. The 11 p.m. to 7 a.m. were the hours. And so I still participated in the family functions. I still participated in a lot of the kids' things, even though I don't have kids of my own or anything. And so I was able to do most of those things because they happened before 11 p.m. So it was and I had rotating days off at that time as well, which also caused more confusion. So they would just call and say, are you able to go or not? Because we have no idea if you're working or if you're not working or if you're on overtime. So they just understood I worked in a job that was 24 by 365 and asked if I could go instead of do I want to go?
Sure. Yeah. How about you, Glenna? What's going on with that?
I'll be a little bit long-winded if you don't mind.
Okay. So next
again-
up, go ahead.
So again, my husband, when we were first married, was a fire paramedic. And so we had to kind of, if he was working, I would be off, or if I was working, he was off. So Christmas happened whatever date we made it happen. Thanksgiving happened, the whole 9 yards. However, he has since retired, and he retired early from the fire service, and he went back to school, and he's now, a normal human being. So, but we still had to carry on the traditions that we laid out for our children when they were young. And Leslie and I have been friends for a long time. She actually taught me some of our traditions. Family dinner was a big one. And so having a special family dinner for Thanksgiving and for Christmas and for Easter is a huge deal. And that can happen on a Tuesday night or a Wednesday night or whatever. It's whenever we decided to celebrate. The issue was our extended family. Nobody was in law enforcement or fire or EMS at the time. And so we didn't get to see them a lot. So in order to make up for that, or in order to compensate for that, we just made it a priority to celebrate the traditions with our kids whenever the date was that we could do it versus the 25th or January 1st or whatever. Does that make sense?
It's a difficult thing to kind of comprehend when you first get into public safety. Have you ever worked with anybody who was kind of like, I hate the fact that I have to work on this day, and bitched or complained about it for a long time?
Yeah.
Complained about it and was like, this is crazy. Because I have worked with many people who have come in to tell me, like, I can't work on Christmas. It's like, well, you're working on Christmas. That's just it. And they're just so angry.
Really?
And mad about it. And I'm like, we all have done it. I mean, it's just the way it is. So
I think sometimes, and I want to say maybe that I learned this from Doug. But in so many of our classes, and especially when we're talking about newer employees, and maybe some of you out there have the negative job aspect. So when somebody is testing or interviewing for the job, and you remind them, hey, you understand you're going to have to work Christmas, you're probably going to miss your kid's birthday, you know, all of these negative job aspects. And while I think those have merit, I think what we need to do is turn over that piece of paper and say, yes, while these things exist, let's list all of the great things that are going to happen because of the job that you have here. And so it doesn't always focus on what we may miss, but it forces us to become more innovative with how we're going to celebrate some of these things. And, you know, to Joe's point as well, is your family, if you incorporate them in what it is that you're doing, then you have the support system and they start to understand things a little bit more. But I love that idea of, yeah, there are some negative things, but let's not forget all of the great things.
Oh,
that we
yeah.
get to
So
do,
many
you
great
know?
Yeah. My dad is the best one for trying to transition to I work 24/7, 365. I love this story about him, so I'll just share it. He would tell me when the family functions were, he was one of those ones that just didn't want to change traditionally or anything. And so he would say, Joe, we're having family over at 11 a.m. and you need to be there, he would say. He wouldn't say, do you work the night before? So I would either work all night,
Oh gosh.
just be going to bed for about an hour and a half. And I'd tell Dad, I better not come. I got to work tonight as well, Dad. Dad's like, it isn't going to hurt you. So come on over, you know? And so he just, for the first few years, he wanted me there so bad. And oh, there were some tired nights on that midnight shift.
I bet.
Either stay awake and go to this thing and then try to sleep a different style, or sleep, break it up and go. And he eventually adjusted. He got better, but sometimes it takes tradition just a little bit to change. So
Yeah.
That's
Well, and Glenna, tell us about Family Matters, because that is such a program that I know you've talked about in the past, where it really does get the new employees and their families on the same page from the very beginning.
I thought you were talking about the TV show Family Matters. I'm like,
No, but cute play on words, huh?
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, there is a program that we put together within our department, and it is an orientation for family members to come and discuss the different ways that you're going to need to go through life, because your significant other is a first responder. In this case, it's law enforcement. So we talk about the very real possibility that your spouse or significant other could, get hurt in the line of duty, or they always talk about like officer safety. It's a 24/7 thing, even when they're off duty, but we do discuss holidays, and we do discuss like plays and things like that. And it's so awesome to see, everybody sitting on the other side of the table. Here's your first responder and here's the family. And then by the end of the orientation or the meeting, here they are, because they have solutions to things that were so frustrating before. So you know what, Leslie, I didn't even think about that. You just brought up such a good point. The communications and networking with the like-minded families to come up with solutions. We now have a network of spouses that offer babysitting and offer, oh, you've got this going on, let me take your kids, so that your spouse can sleep.
Yeah.
And then, where they would normally come home and take care of the kids and then go to sleep. But there's a play going on or something. And so it's a community of organizers to make all this stuff happen, which is awesome.
I just wonder
Yeah,
how
because
many
how many
Whoa.
trainees? Yeah.
Well, I wonder
How
how
many
many people
trainees-
watching this podcast have that same thing at their agency. That's so proactive. It's shocking.
Right.
But
Yeah.
it's like you bring the family in when somebody gets hired. I mean, if you do, leave us a message
Right.
below.
Please
Yes.
do. I would love to know. And if not,
Wow.
leave us a message and I'll tell you how to start it.
That's so
Yeah.
great. Jeez.
Yeah, because what I was going to say is, how many trainees, think about your own training program, and are they staying on one shift for the duration of their training program? Probably not. So you may give them a week or 2 weeks notice and say, oh, hey, trainee A, next week you're going to be going to graveyard. And but if you've got the family on board, because the trainee's not going to say, oh, I can't do that because I've got this, that, and the other. But the family,
Well, they
when
will,
come
but
in-
then you got to
I was
educate
going to
them.
say, I've had people tell me that. So
But when the family comes in and you kind of give them the setup of their schedule's going to change, especially when they're in training. expectation of what's going to happen. And so it gives people a little bit of freedom, because I think a lot of us, maybe when we started, kind of got a little bit freaked out because, oh my gosh, Joe, you're going to have to tell your dad that you can't go to Sunday dinner. But if he's already on board,
Yeah.
hey, Dad, I'll see you
See,
Sunday
that
night.
never happened.
I
Yeah.
already want to set it.
Let me ask you this, Joe. If your dad actually knew about how much that could hurt you, sleep deprivation and all of that, he would never tell you you have to be there.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm
and it was-
assuming, because you're a
Yeah.
nice guy. I'm assuming your dad's a nice guy. He may be a jerk. I don't know.
No,
But
he's
I-
absolutely
Okay.
awesome. He just wanted me there. And but I heard about this program for you guys, and that was instantly the person I thought of. But I also think that we that work in 911 could also do better at communicating our schedule to them. We expect them to understand, but sometimes don't tell them what we actually work.
Yeah.
And so it's hard for family or friends or loved ones to understand what our schedule actually is when we don't communicate that well. So I thought it mainly fall on me, because my dad, he's absolutely awesome. But yeah, he does want us there when we can be there. He wants everybody there.
You're going to show up. It's that simple.
Yeah.
You're going to be there.
Yeah, I was kind of lucky because before I was in dispatch years ago, I was a private investigator, and that did require odd hours and odd times. So I was kind of used to
Odd
this.
things happening, probably.
Very odd things happening. It was in LA. So it was like a lot of different things. And people just knew, hey, Doug's probably not going to make it. He's busy doing something. So, and I really didn't tell people what was going on. Just I have to go do something and I'll be back later, hopefully. So
Probably thought you were a secret agent.
probably. So it was like, I just needed my Ferrari and my New York Yankees hat for Magnum PI. But that leads me to one other thing here, which is, well, let me just say a quick story. When I was hiring people, back when I was interviewing people, I was interviewing this group of people with my lieutenant who's never been in dispatch before, new to the program, but I told him, just come in dispatch and watch us do the interviews. You'll see that it works great. And we had this one person, I said to her, do you have any questions for us? And she goes, yeah, I do. What time do you guys close? And I'm like, close. We don't close. And she goes, you don't, you're up here all day? And I'm like, and all night?
Yeah, and all night.
I'm like, she was so shocked that she was just like, I don't think I can do this because my family. And I'm like, thanks for coming. There you
Yeah,
go.
bye-bye. Thank
So-
you for not wasting our time.
But see, I think that's why we started that thing. We were doing lots of advertising on TV saying what the job is and how fun it can be, but it's 24 hours a day. I wanted to get the message out before I waste my time interviewing somebody, tell them what's going on with that. So here's
Right.
one thing that maybe you don't have this experience, but maybe somebody you know has this. Do you notice people in public safety usually only hang around with public safety?
Yeah.
So we kind of like the outside world that doesn't know us is kind of like, they don't get what I'm doing. I mean, Leslie's got she doesn't have that because she's mixed in public safety quite a bit.
Yeah.
I mean, so
Leslie, do you have any friends that are not in public safety?
yeah, do you? Does anybody here have friends that are not in
I
public safety?
do. I
Do
do.
you? Yeah, I do too.
Yeah.
And you know what? I want to tell you a quick story. So I moved to the city where we live now 10 years ago with the kids and everybody, didn't know anybody, put my son into private school because just the situation we allowed us to do that. And I met four or five ladies in this private school that were parents of other kids that are the most phenomenal human beings ever. Not one, well, with the exception of one, has anything to do with public safety or anything at all. And I could count on these women to show up at 3 a.m. at my house to come take my child to school if need be because I was at work, or they would call me and ask me, what day can we have a Christmas party? A Tuesday night? Okay, great. That's when we're going to do it. Those people that you find that are like that's your tribe right there. They're not
Yeah.
family, but they are my dearest friends.
I know I always tell new people when they're starting this job is don't lose your outside friends.
That's
Because
so
they're
smart.
the grounding. They're going to be that foundation you need to have when you go home and you don't
Yeah.
deal with this all the time. So it
Yeah.
is important to maintain that outside friendship. What's up, Joe?
For me, it's I'm gonna give a shout out to my friends that we still golf together. We actually get together on March Madness for NCAA. We've been getting together since high school in March Madness, and we got a group of us. There's 12 of us primarily that still stick together. We've known each other since our whole lives, and actually the triplets. one of those three, their grandparents actually, in a weird sense, knew my grandparents and dated each other before our grandparents actually married. That's how far
Girl.
back our
Oh, it's
families
like
go.
that in his household.
Man, that is
So
awesome.
way back, and we've known them our whole life, and it's just awesome that we're still together to this day. There's a group of us,
Wow.
and I'm one of the only ones that works in 911. And we get together for March Madness. We get together and we do fantasy football. We also get together for golf. And we a lot of us have been in each other's weddings. A lot of us have been, godparents to children, etc., and everything like that. So we're just a great group of friends. And you cannot have enough friends that are not in public safety, in my mind. So keep them involved in your life as well, because they're always going to be there for you.
That's true. That is
Amen.
true. Leslie, what, you have any other friends besides your,
Besides us.
And it sounds, I would like to say that I do, but as y'all are talking, I'm going through the catalog in my head. No. Most of the people that I associate with are related somehow to public safety. But because a lot of them, most of them, all of them are public safety, they're also the first people to say, I call BS to your BS. So
Yeah, that's very
so they
true.
still keep me balanced and real. And as I approach retirement age, it does freak me out a little bit to
I was
think,
gonna say, does that
"Man,
scare you?
yeah, I'm not a nice person." You created
this
this
is more of
this-
a counseling session here.
Yeah, I was gonna say positive
But
affirmation.
I do know that it's going to be something that I'm going to have to make a concerted effort to do. And I certainly recognize that. But it is something that, you need to have those people in your life to keep you normal, to keep you grounded, to keep all that, or surround yourself with 911 friends who are going to say, yeah, nah, I don't think so.
Who pretend to be normal.
Yeah,
Well, I mean, and that's,
I will say
you know-
my closest friends are right here. Right here. But the way
absolutely.
you see
Yeah.
it, Joe, I've never met Joe in person, and without a doubt, I know I could call him up and be like, "Oh my gosh, I need your help," or "I just need you to
Yeah.
listen." And
Yeah.
he'd pretend
would-
to stay awake. He might go to sleep, but
No, I would actually say the same thing. If you've seen any of our past episodes, Glenna talks about being passionate. And I connect with Glenna on that level because I've been told that by previous bosses is sometimes, Joe, you just need to not be so passionate. Okay. And remove some of that emotion. So Glenna out there in California, and I am in
Joe in
Iowa.
Iowa.
Yeah. And we've been virtual friends and someday we will meet, but Glenna is a true friend of mine as well. So
That's cool. And it is, we are all friends with each other, and it's nice to hang out with all of you. I mean, it's like we moved clear across the country, and anybody we knew in California that we were hanging out with or going to our house or whatever, they're in California. So we're over here now, and it's like we've met some good people, and we're hanging out with them, and it's like it's nice to hang out with people that don't do this job, that are not so like they just didn't
Be nice.
Yeah, some people just don't understand the job, and it's like so it's nice to be with people that don't really want to know your worst call or your worst time you ever had.
Yes.
They
Yes,
just respect the
very
fact that, my God, you did that for that long. Oh my goodness, that's a long time. So, and I know that our mutual friend Stephanie there with Leslie, that she's a great person to hang out with because she just doesn't do this at all. So it's nice to have some people out of public safety, but
There
it's
you
also
go.
super nice to
Leslie,
have people-
Stephanie, whoever she is.
Right. I know
hello,
her.
Stephanie.
Hi, Steph. Yeah, but
Yeah,
and
that may or may not be her name.
Yeah, I call her Stephanie. Her real name's Heather, but whatever. So that's how close we are.
That's
So that gives you. But I do, and and I'm going to throw Doug under the bus a little bit. Is he's given me hope, because if Doug can make friends outside of public safety,
Amen.
anybody can.
Wow, Doug. Wow.
Yeah,
You're
it's,
welcome. You're welcome.
Yeah, it's a difficult. Sometimes it's difficult to relate with people that are not in this job because I have my own views on certain things, and they may not be the public view of things. So
Yeah. Well, and I know we're getting close to time, so I don't want
We
to
are.
open this Pandora's box, but I think maybe for another
going to.
episode is consider, for those of you who may not have as many outside friends or are scared about the process like I am of making new friends, is how much of your identity and who you are and how you function in the world is tied to what you do. I'll leave it there. We'll discuss
That's
later.
another topic for another time because that's going to be
Come on,
an
Mr.
in-depth
Styles.
conference. So that's a good thing to bring up next time. So, hey,
Yeah.
again, we had a great time with you all today. Thanks, Joe. Thanks, Leslie. Thanks, Glenna, for coming and doing this thing. We thank you for watching and listening to us on as many podcasts as you could possibly name. We're on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, plus Joe's got all of the podcasts we're on. We're on all of them. One thing is
Everyone.
you have to be a fan of ours because we have these great decals that talk about a fan club, because in the next few weeks, you're going to hear some special thing for those of you that have those stickers or decals.
Oh, check
You
you out,
If you
Leslie.
don't have them, you better email us and get
Oh,
some.
mine are
because
gone. She still has more.
It's going to be one of those things where it's like you said, I waited too long and now I'm not part of this great thing we're going to be doing in a couple weeks. So let us know.
Leslie, that's how you're gonna make friends.
That's right.
That's right. I'm going to bribe them with decals.
Oh my God. Well, all right, everybody. It's a great time. Thanks for everybody for showing up and doing these questions right there. Have a great rest of the afternoon. Good luck,
Bye.
everybody. Good night.
Yeah.
Good night.
Hey, this is Jill, and you've been listening to another great episode of We Speak Dispatch, proudly sponsored by our friends at Zybex.
911 emergency. What is your
Southbound number 3 lane.
911. What's your emergency?
Sunset will notify LAPD.
How can I help you?